We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
Nosotros crecemos cuando damos.
We grow when we give.
与えるとき成長する。
We grow when we give.
Welcome to R.O.G, Return on Generosity, a podcast celebrating generosity at work. Not financial giving, giving valuable time, alternative perspectives, and genuine collaboration.
Our special guest today is Steve Ramona, a unique super connector who specializes in building partnerships through his personalized introductions. Steve's introductions have been so successful that they've resulted in over $25 million in deals in the past decade. Steve is the host of a podcast called Doing Business with a Servant's Heart, with a massive audience. He also has a TV show called Together We Serve, notice a trend here, which has 1.2 million monthly audience members. Much like R.O.G, Steve's show features CEOs, founders, presidents, entrepreneurs, and people who have incredible stories of generosity. What I appreciate most about you, Steve, is your servant's heart. You truly want to contribute and you do it so well. Welcome to R.O.G.
Thank you. And you are my sister podcast. We didn't talk about it before the show, but R.O.G and Doing Business Servant's Heart, we are so much aligned. It's beautiful.
It's unbelievable. And thank you to Abby Haverman, who had the thoughtfulness to connect us. When we met, she's like, you have to meet Steve. And she's so right. So please tell us a little bit about your background.
So it all started back at high school. Got graduated high school. It's summertime. Going to community college to play football. My family had launched a health club. And people are like, I tell this story, well, it has to do with what you do. You'll learn in a quick second here. So I'm 18 years old and working the front desk and checking people in are 40, 50, much older. So it's, it's a little nervous. How do you talk to them? How do you remember their name? You look on the computer. But I realized in months, I started building relationships instead of, hey, welcome, Shannon, welcome to the club. Hey, Shannon, have a great day. It became, hey, Shannon, how was your vacation? Oh, it was Mexico? Oh, my God, I got to go there. Or they would take me out to lunch, or I'd see them out at dinner. Yeah, people were just opening up to me and they became friends, really became friends. And that's kind of the atmosphere we wanted to develop. Well, one of these guys came in, Tony, who's a financial advisor with really wealthy people, little short Italian guy, and he go, hey, kid, how you doing? I'm doing well, Tony. And we just build. He came back from vacation. He had a book in his hand. And he said, hey, kid. And he threw the book at me, and I catch it like, yeah. He goes, read this book. Tuesday, it was like Wednesday or Thursday. Come back Tuesday, you tell me what it's all about. Okay, Tony. We were a really short book, so 19, 18, my attention span was just enough to read it. So Tuesday comes, and of course, he asked me, how was the book? Give it back to him. I said, it's 10% of my income. Put it away and don't touch it. We hear that all the time. But I'm 18, 19. But I did. 10 years later, he left the health club, and I looked at the account. I looked at it periodically, but I didn't touch it. And I looked at it, $68,000. Now, this is a 28-year-old in 1990. That was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Right? Of course, as a 28-year-old, I went out on vacations, probably spent $8,000 of it. But what I did is I called Tony and I thanked him. I said, Tony, he goes, oh, kid, I'm glad. Still called me kid. I said, let me give you $1,000. I know this is your business and you were advising me. He goes, He says, here's why. I served you and you taken my advice, which most people didn't, and you ran with it. I'm sure people came into my life, opportunity doors opened because I served you. The universe helped me. And that's why I've retired as a multi-millionaire. And I hung up that phone and went, holy crap. First, what a great gift.
Right.
But the second thing was like, hey, there's something to this, building a relationship. And then realizing for 10 years at the health club, they joked around at the health club, and you're going to love this, Shannon. He says, Steve, you ever get married, you're going to have to go to the Oakland Stadium because you're going to have to invite 45,000 people. You've built so many relationships, which is kind of true. Never did. Got married much later, but not realizing, here's the power. I'm going to give you guys tips that I learned, not even realize I was doing it. Because years later, I started getting opportunities. I started a recycling company. What did I do? I went to my whole family at the health club, which had closed, or we sold, and I started growing my business fast. Hey guys, I've got a recycling company, come recycle, da, da, da. Well, because I built relations with thousands of people, guess what? I had 6 figures in the bank account for the company within a year. Treating people right, building a relationship can go a long ways for your future.
Unbelievable. What a great ROG story. Just right out of the gates, because
I'm strong.
I think it's such a good story because it shows exactly your intention. Your intention was to delight these people, to make them feel like they belong and that you care about them, because you do care about them. And Tony really just wanted to help you be aware of a way that you could work smarter, not harder, and just, forward on some of his learned wisdom. So I think, like, for each of you, your intentions were to be of service, and then you get so much reward in return, just unintentionally, right?
Yep. Gifts too, because audience and Shannon realize, how many people I told that story to? My friends, hey, this guy, and so they started doing it. Some of them, I don't know what end result, but gifts keep I call it Christmas every day. I get to live that. You get to live it, Shannon. We get to give gifts, but we get to exchange gifts. As I give a gift, I ask for a gift. Law of reciprocity in Think and Grow Rich. It's powerful, powerful.
So beautiful. So you've a lot of thought leadership, Steve, and I know we won't be able to cover all of it today, but one of your key principles is the ASLA principle. Could you please share more?
ASLA principle. I just like saying that, Shannon. It's kind of funny, and give shout out to Jeffrey Lackey, who one of my guests that came up with it when he listened to me on his show. It's ask, shut up, listen, ask. Now, the shut up, listen part confuses people, because if I shut up and don't say anything, aren't I listening? And I tell people, how many Zooms have you been on where their video goes away? We don't know what they're doing. Maybe they are listening, but maybe they went to the door. Maybe they took the dog out. Maybe they went to get a drink. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's go to the bathroom. But have you heard what I've said for the last 2 or 3 minutes when you went to the bathroom? Probably not. What did you miss? So the ask, shut up, and listen and ask has changed my life completely. I gave you what's happened to me. When you go and you ask a question, so what's your challenges in your business? Well, this, and this, and you hear some things, then you ask, well, have you tried doing this to help solve some of your challenges? No. Well, tell me more. Now I can start powering them with value. Here's some things I've learned from this guy. Here's some things again, taking people's gifts that they've given me and mentored me to give to other people. Return of generosity. I get to do that daily. I'll jump on calls and I'll ask that question. Next minute, the next 20 minutes is me mentoring them. And I've had people go, what's your cost? I said, I mentor for free. I coach that for free.
Yeah.
And anybody can do that. What am I going to charge for $100? Yeah. And for a lot of people, I don't want to diminish this at all. $100 could be a lot, but to me and what's happened to me, that 20, 30 minutes has completely changed my life, because these gifts of people coming to my podcast, opening doors for me, have been absolutely incredible.
Priceless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the ask question, the first one out of the gate is what? Like an open-ended?
The opener. Great for introverts. If you're an introvert out there, have 3 questions on your computer before you meet somebody and fire off that first question. Because I know by the time you get to the third question, there's going to be some banter back and forth. So you ask that question, you shut up and listen and draw value from that. Then you ask another question, and that question will help you lead to more value. Because to be a servant, to be generous, you have to know somebody. We'll use a perfect example. I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. We talked. I listened to you. You was like, I got these challenges with my podcast. I said, well, I've got some options. You lit up like a firecracker. Yeah. I did that within 5-8 minutes.
5 seconds. Yeah.
I asked, shut up, listen. And I asked again, would you be interested in this? Yeah. Hey, if you said no, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's such a great principle. And here's the thing. You don't need a big skill set to do it.
Right. You just need, what do you think you need?
Listening.
Yeah, and curiosity. I heard that in what you're saying.
That's
And I also hear um like a genuine interest in being of service, and like I may not actually have the right background or skill set to help you, but I might know someone who does. So like that confidence in knowing that you could help someone find a solution, or you could listen and maybe they even hear themselves say something that they hadn't heard themselves say before.
yeah. Last year I did almost 2,000 introductions. Now, how can I do that? I know people say like, "Oh my God!" One, my mindset is to do that if it
Yes.
fits. That's where the ASLA comes in too. I can listen and go, "Hey, I have a pain point here. Well, I've got this great lawyer that I think can help you, or I've got this great coach, or whatever it may be."
Sure.
And it's you have to build your network to do that.
Right.
So here's a tip, audience: meet 10 to 15 new people every week.
Every week. How do you suggest people do that?
Okay, you open the door, so we're going to go right through that door.
Let's go.
Here's a great tip that most people are not doing. Go to your contact list on your phone.
Uh-huh.
Say you have 1,000 people, probably 100 are family and friends that wouldn't be interested, but you go and ask them, quick question: do you know a lawyer that could use funding? I'd love an intro. Do you know a business coach that wants a better CRM? Or do you know a great life insurance agent? Those industries that you work with, go out to your contact list. If you have 800 people you're reaching out to, times 10, that's 80 connections. So that takes care of 8 weeks right there.
And the question that you're asking these people is something that you could benefit from?
That you're
like
that
your
the value,
whatever your business is?
yeah. Yeah, I'd like to talk to a lawyer. I've got a CRM that it helps lawyers I just built. I'd love to talk to them to see if I can benefit them. Or I'm looking for a partner in the energy space that I do. I've reached out many times. Hey, do you know any energy companies? And with my network, I've only been in business 4 months. I had 10 multi-million-dollar referrals.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That's
know this person.
incredible.
I know this person. Again, it's your network, your net worth. Build your network. I'm still building. Today, Shannon, you're not part of my network. Now,
Yeah.
not everybody will be, and that's okay. You don't need 360 million people in the United States. 1,000 people, 5,000.
Yes.
When you build that network, now that's one of your resources you can give somebody. As you do ASLA, here's here's what happens, the ROI. I get emails. I've got testimonies of people. I jumped on a call with Steve. The value he brought me was so unbelievable. It's one of the best calls I've ever been on in my life.
Yeah.
And that is something that I'm top of mind of most people.
Right. Right.
I get 3 referrals daily for 18 months.
That's incredible. So you talk about networking correctly. I think you're
Yes.
sharing some of that in this example. If you could break it down tactically, like what are some of the things that our listeners can practice?
Think and Grow Rich, chapter 4. If you just buy the book for that, it's multi-million-dollar chapter. It's law of increase, law of value, law of generosity. You can throw all those words in there.
Yep.
That should be your first mindset stepping to any call, any group call, anything where you're interacting with people.
Yeah.
Because remember, we are all, from the plumber that comes and fix your toilet to that $100 million coach, we are in the people asset investment business, meaning we need people to grow our business.
Right.
If we're not doing that, if I have 5 people in my network, how much can I grow, audience? Or I have 5,000 people in my network.
Right. Yeah.
Now, people out there, I do have 5 people. Well, do the 10 to 15 new people. Go to your contact list. The other thing is go back 6 months on your calendar and go through it and go, oh, Shannon, she is a rock star. I'm going to connect with her again. It's been a couple of months.
Right. And just reach
That's
out.
40 or 50 connections right there. It's 40. Because when I say new people, people lose sight of this, and I loved sharing this, is I meet you today. We reconnect in 3 months. How much has changed in your life and how much has changed in my life? So it's like meeting somebody new.
Right. Yeah. You've got 3 months of experience and new ways of thinking about things and things you're grateful for and et cetera, right? That is really changing how you're seeing the world. And it's just so nice to reconnect with people, even just for a brief hello. connection. I think that's great. So another thing that you talk about is to serve before selling. And you're giving us examples of that right now, but just to be even more overt about it, what's your mindset there?
So abs. Everybody knows what abs are. Some have too many, more than they should, which I'm working on. But always be serving. And what do we do? I've been a fitness, I mentioned a health club, I was in 20 years. We can work our abs every day. That's one muscle you can do every day. You can serve every day. People, a couple things happen with that. It's like, well, Steve, I've got rent, I've got bills, I've got staff. You got to make money, and I got a tip for that too down the road. But still serve.
Yeah.
Because when you serve people and build a relationship, you're going to get far more referrals than pitching you today. Hey, here's my coaching program for podcast. I'll change it. Here's $1,000. I haven't built a relationship. How long do you stay with that or build a relationship and then become a client?
Right.
I've had people I've worked with that had clients 3 or 4 years. How many referrals are they getting? They're treating them right. They're staying with you.
They're connecting.
You go to the same grocery store. You go to the same church. You go there because you like it. It's benefited you.
So when you talk about service, give me an example of what you mean. Because I think I know what you mean, but I want to hear
I'll give you a bunch of them.
Okay.
And I'll give you the lower end and the higher end because I talk to people all the time.
Perfect.
I go to church and I see this beautiful baby that had happened Sunday. And I don't know the lady. I just walked up and said, "Guys, that's the most beautiful bow and a baby. She's so cute." Well, she lit up. Now, does she light up for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 years? We don't care. It's the universe. You're putting it out to the universe and you change somebody's lives. You also need to think about what's in their shoes that day. What are they walking in? And I'll give you an example of serving. I tell people when you're having a bad day, stop what you're doing. And we get that mindset coaching all the time. Don't try to plow through it, which I used to do. Get away from it. So I left my office at 2:00, which I rarely do, and went to the grocery store. Staying in line, it was 2:30. And the lady in front of me had a baby. I had this calling. I'm a faith guy to call him. I'm going to buy her groceries. Wasn't a lot of money. And I told the clerk, "Hey, here's my credit card." And he goes, "Dude," he's a surfer guy. I'm in California. He's like, "Dude, who does that? What are you doing?" I started laughing. She started laughing. I said, "Hey," and I saw his name. By the way, if you see people's name tags, always use their name. Oh, see, I knew you.
Always.
So I went Kirk. I believe his name was Kirk. I said, "Can you do me a favor?" He goes, "Okay." So I did. Paid for mine. Walked out. I'm walking out. And she introduced Debbie and Steve, and she starts tearing up. And I went, "Oh my God, Debbie, I didn't want to upset you. That's always our first thought." She goes, No, Steve." She stops. She goes, "My husband lost his job last week. I don't know how we're going to pay for these groceries. You gave us another week of food." I'm getting chills right now every time I tell this.
Me too.
This is why we serve. I didn't know the shoes she was walking in. So that was awesome. Pat me on the back for doing it, but I didn't do it for transactional. I did it to transform, to help. Yes. And I helped even more than I thought. But here's the power of serving. When she goes home, Shannon, and talks to her husband, what do you think she's going to say?
Yeah, the ripple
this guy
effect.
Steve bought my.
Yes,
why do you do that?
What's going on? This angel. Yeah.
It's why you always want to be serving story. Now, you could serve that, or you could give $1 million to your favorite charity if you won the lottery. It's bringing value to people and transforming them. Very little or transforming them a lot.
Yes. I have a story of being the recipient of like that woman online. I had 2 little kids, did the grocery shopping, which is an act of God in and of itself. I'm at the checkout. I'm helping bag. I swipe my credit card. It doesn't work. So now I'm panicked because I'm like, oh my gosh, first of all, I can't imagine redoing all of that again. Whatever. The lady behind me says, "I got it." And I said, "Are you serious?" She's like, "No, send me a check, whatever. Don't bother." She goes to swipe her credit card. It doesn't work. The credit card machine was broken. And I looked at her and I said, "Who does that?" Like, so you and her and now me, because I think, you have to pay it forward, right? You have to.
Yeah.
When you witness things like that, right? It's a beautiful trend.
I hope most people will. Not all people will, but I hope most people will. But that's such a great story. Again, She asked to serve, and that's the other part of serving that I don't think about a lot, but it didn't work. But the action taken to try to do it is just as well as here's my card paying.
Because I think that's a key thing, Steve. Like we have to notice, like you had to notice this woman and the baby and that opportunity. So what can you tell us about paying attention?
Self-awareness is huge. Service is a skill. Serving is a skill, like gratitude, whatever skill. Listening is a skill. So you need to practice it and be intentional about it. For me, as you could tell right away, it just come in my subconscious. I'm always thinking, how can I bring value?
Yeah.
So to practice it, here's a little practice I give people. Start Monday and start writing down everybody you served. I took the lady's groceries, put it in the car. I called my best friend I hadn't talked to in 6 months and had a great, that's serving. I gave $50 to this person. I tithed my church, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Write down what you did, how that person felt, and how you felt. And then at the end of the week, write down, go over all that and write down how you felt all week, how you changed people's lives. But I think the most important thing, look at your week and how much it changed for the positive. Maybe not at all, but I guarantee you the feelings and emotions are going to be great.
Yep.
If it's very little. I mean, taking the lady's groceries, put it in the car, and she comes and gives you a hug.
Right.
It's happened to me and probably other people listening because they're so happy, trying to figure it out or just opening a door for somebody
to serve them.
Little things.
For sure. And something else I've heard you say is if you're having a bad day, go and serve someone. Like how, I think you're already talking about that, but tell us more.
A bad day is negative aura, energy, whatever you want to call. And I always think good and evil. I'm a big movie guy. Good always beats evil by just overcoming it.
Yeah.
And I think when you have a negativity in your life, you go out and do positive things, the universe will change you. When, where, and how is the situation? I don't want to say challenge, and it could be when I talk to people, but I don't care about that because my first thing is value, law of increased value. And I tell you, audience, since I've been doing it for the last 2 years, I've done over 600 shows, put out some incredible stories of, a woman being abused by her parents sexually in a cult, and then reconciling with her mom years later and they're best friends. Wow. Alfonso, who was in jail for 32 years for murder at 17 years old, he never was there. He was convicted wrongfully. 32 years, 5 years in solitaire. And a chaplain and faith got him out. And he's out. He came out and in our podcast talked about how grateful he is.
Right.
The sun coming up, the ripple in the water, the bird. He never got to see that. He just saw brick walls. Sorry.
No.
It's those type of things we don't hear enough of that we can do as a podcast. Like your podcast is so beautiful. Return of Generosity. It lit me up. It's got to light you people up listening. Just the title and then putting all this content in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get deep with it and probably too deep sometimes. But
not at all.
Really
no way.
Powerful.
No way. That's where the beauty is, right? And anytime we cry, I always say it's just your heart coming out of your eyes. So, and when you talk to these humans who are grateful after going through what sounds like torture and hell, and to look for those details in nature that they just can't even get enough of, it just reminds us how gratitude really turns what you have into enough. Right. But if we're only focused on what we don't have and what's in the gap and all the things that are wrong or the things we need to fix, we're going to miss all of that. Right. It's still right there. We're just not going to see it.
Yeah. And I missed it. Depression, you forget that we're human. We're fallible. There's times I not do it, but I do it majority of the time. And go out and look for people to serve. This is not something go get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Go reach out to somebody in your calendar and go, hey, I was thinking about you. How's your business? How can I help you? Just asking that question at ASLA. How can I help you? Shut up, listen. And then ask, okay, I keep going back to that. There's so many branches that we can go.
Oh, sure.
here's why I love your podcast title. I don't want, before we close, I'll make sure we talk about this. Return of Generosity. Mine's doing business with going out and serving.
Yeah.
But that's a one-way street that could get you in a lot of trouble. Humbly, personally, I lost millions of dollars because, and I'm okay with it because it's a lesson learned.
Mm-hmm.
I would go, hey, Shannon, here's a bunch of, like I gave you a bunch of resources. Most of the time when you bring value, what's the next question? Steve, thank you. So this is great. How can I support you? I would put my hand up like this, go, Shannon, I'm good. Enjoy those referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So I met Tony a while back. Is it Tony? Whatever his name. And we were talking. I could tell this guy's business was rocking and rolling. He was doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year in income. Tell me your secret sauce. He goes, I serve.
Yeah.
He says, that's what I do. I said, I could tell. I serve morning. I serve my competitors, which are my collaborators. I just sent that day, you just sent a client to somebody else, a $50,000 client, because he couldn't help him.
Yeah.
And at night, who am I going to serve? So his whole life is about law of increase. He heard my story about that. He goes, Steve, whoa, dude, whoa. You put your hand up. First of all, I was telling the universe, stop, shut that, cut it off. So I stopped doing that. But the other thing was, Steve, you bring all these gifts to people and they ask you to give you a gift and you say no, you turn them into takers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Shannon's not walking away going, God, what an a-hole. It's the subconscious, which is more impactful. Like you don't make the impact. Plus the universe doesn't like that.
Right.
Once I learned that, my whole life flourished. Because I'd ask, hey, I'm looking for this. Great. I get a client for $10,000. Or I have people do it and they're asking, yeah, let me connect you here. And he's got 3 people that could join. I just got a message this morning from the guy asking me for clients. You know what he did? He said, I'd love to have you become as a member for free to my group. It's $2,500 a year. He goes, you brought me so much value because I asked, I'd love to be a member. He's going to let me be a member for free.
Mm.
You miss out on a lot of opportunities, gifts.
Right.
Ask. And what's the worst thing that happens? No, I can't do that. Great. Or I don't have a connection there, or I don't do great.
You shut it down.
Beautiful.
Or you move on, or you find somebody else. Yeah. And I think it's like the return on generosity is that we get so much. We love to help people and give, but many of us don't want to give unsolicited help, and we certainly don't want to give help that people don't want. So for us to enable others to also get the joy of helping us when we're looking for ways to help them, I really think that's how humans were designed. I think we were made for compassion and community. And I think that when we operate that way, I think that's why it flows so seamlessly and it feels so organic, because I think that's how we were designed.
Yeah, I think from a person in jail for murder to President of the United States, not being political here, everybody's got that serving soul. It's do they bring it out?
Absolutely. So you have said, or you quote the Navy SEALs saying, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So I learned this in church, and I thought it just nailed me, because when you serve, you're not getting a transactional right away. You're not getting a return right away. That gift may come 2 weeks later. It may come from that. I just got a referral 3 weeks ago from somebody I haven't talked to in 8 months. Think about that. Hey, you need to meet Steve. Oh my God, I was thinking about, he'd be great to talk to about your business. That took 8 months. Slow but smooth. Keep serving. Slow and smooth, and then smooth is fast. Because then when the momentum starts going, then it becomes fast. And I say, Shannon, here's 4 referrals. And say they're huge referrals. Okay, Shannon, I need 4 referrals back, and I need to pay me $500 for the referrals. I don't do that.
Right.
That's not slow as smooth. That's fast as you're stupid. Sorry, I don't mean that you, but
no.
Why would you transact that way? We don't know each other. We've just met today. We built a bigger relationship, but you don't do that.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
And it feels transactional, and people hate being sold something. So when you talk about being transformational and not transactional, I think I know what you mean, but tell us.
So when you're doing law of increase and ASLA, put all those principles together, as you're listening, how can you transform that person? Let me give you an example. let's use Ryan, who does TEDx talks. Did I tell you the story about Ryan? I have so
Not
many.
yet, no.
Okay, so this is a perfect story for this. So he had this lady on LinkedIn that's a call center. What they do is they connect you and see if you're interested, and then they book a time with the owner. So Ryan jumps on. He's actually lived local, and he started talking about TEDx talks. And I said, "Hey, Ryan, let me stop you. For me personally, I'm not a TEDx talk guy. I don't see value, but I really appreciate what you do. But how can I support you?" He goes, "Well, you're 63. Can I ask you some questions about business?" 45 minutes later, he had so many resources and tips. He was like blown away. I said, "This is how you serve, by flipping a pitch into a serving meeting."
Yeah. It was an opportunity that you saw it, and and you asked the question, and you shut up and listened, and then you thought about how you could share some of what you know. That's so great. So it's transformational, in that you're helping to transform your relationship with that person, whatever problem they're solving, and just really even transforming how we think of networking and business and reciprocity and all of that, right?
Marketing, lead gen, all the different things that I can help with. I do a free business mentoring on this site called Pay What You Can support group. They pay me or not. Then most of the times, 99% they don't. So I was on a call with 4 people. We were in these conversations about what's your dreams, what's your goals. And one lady, she's poor. She's dependent on other people on money. She's divorced. She got off the call. She goes, "Oh my God, you've given me hope. I'm going to go to a library and start learning about business."
Oh, wow. That's what she needed. She just needed that
A
oxygen,
little
right? To get
spur
into
from
that,
somebody. Yeah. We all can
Oh,
do that. People laugh when I say this. I'm not special, but I'm special. I take action. I think action is the special part of what you do, Sharon, and what I do, and people that are successful.
yes. Yeah. So you have the ABL, always be listening, so that we're listening after we're shutting up.
Yeah.
And then the ABS, which is always be serving. And those are just mantras that you live by. And like, when do you catch yourself remembering the ABL, ABS throughout any given day?
When I don't do it.
Okay.
Oh man, I was on that Zoom. I didn't hear what he's. Yeah,
Yeah. Like, there was an opportunity. Yeah.
And I used to bother me because I'm trying to be the best servant. I'm a faith guy, and God's not going to tap me on the shoulder and go, "Hey, you failed." But I learned from that. Now the next time the person got much more value, because I want to make up for the time I missed. We're going to miss. I don't miss much, but we're going to miss. I miss, and that's okay.
But you catch it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
I love that when Nelson Mandela said, we either win or we learn. So we either win that chance to be of service, or we learn how to listen more, be more attentive. I think that's great, because we do have to be generous to ourselves also, and that acknowledgement that we're human and we're not going to always hit it out of the park when we get those opportunities. That's really huge. So are you up for some rapid fire questions?
Oh my God, I love these.
So fun.
Let's do it.
There's a new ad to R.O.G recently, and it's been amazing. Okay, so I love music. Curious to know, what is one of your favorite songs?
Jimmy Buffett, Brown Eyed Girl.
Oh, that's good. What do you love about that song? It actually just makes you happy.
Exactly. You're my sister. That's exactly what it said.
Yeah.
It makes me happy and I smile.
As soon as you hear the opening beats of that song, it's actually my mom's ringtone for my sister, because she has brown eyes. And every time my sister calls her and I'm in her company, I'm like, I just love that song. All right. So best or worst advice you've ever been given, or both?
Well, the best advice is listening.
Yeah.
The worst advice is not listening for the first 30 years of my life, from 18 to 48. I lost thousands and thousands of dollars. Seriously lost thousands and thousands of dollars, because I always had to be right. Instead of listening, and I don't have to be right. Here's the other thing I learned. Here's a little phrase that I tell everybody that's huge. When somebody doesn't like what you do or is negative towards you, that frame of mind, in my head, I think, what you think about me is none of my business. It's just makes me smile.
Yes. Yeah. Right. You're better off not knowing in that case, if it's not going to teach you something, and it's more just being critical or jealous, perhaps. So what never fails to make you laugh?
A baby laughing.
What do you think is the key to living a great life?
Get better 1% every day.
Oh, new
So it's
nuggets.
January, end of January, it's 11 months. Let's say there's 320 days left. So if you got better 1% every day, that's 320% you're better January 1st, 2026. But let's kick back. Let's go fallible. I do 100 days, I get 1% better. You're better 100%.
Mm-hmm.
How much growth are you going to have? How much better are you going to be? And, ROI, how much more revenue are you going to make?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a great challenge and it's bite size. We can all do this. What's a must do in every introduction?
Know their name.
Yeah. Know their name and repeat their name. Is that something that you often do?
See, you read my mind. Quick story. I know we're coming to the end. When I go to restaurants, I always ask the waitress name or whatever. And I like to talk to the manager. When I get a good waitress, I'll tell her, "Hey, Debbie, can you go get your manager?"
That's it?
Yeah. And I've talked to over 100 managers at restaurants. 95% of them don't hear good things about their staff more than 4 or 5 times a year.
Oh, my.
So if you want to be a servant, when you're out to the retail, restaurant, grocery store, grab a manager and tell them.
So I think you've said this already, but what's a simple way for us to be transformational and not transactional?
The listening part and asking questions. And I'll throw back to the introverts or anybody. They're like, well, what questions do I ask? Have 3 prepared questions in every meeting you have. It could be the same ones. Here's some examples. What's your challenges? What's your goals or dreams?
Yeah.
What are you working on today? How can I support you or help you? Where do you live?
For those listening who are not recognizing their own value to add value, like they're like, well, I don't know all these people. I don't have all of these resources. What do you say to people who aren't yet aware of the value that they can bring to others?
First thing, you start building your network today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Energy. Look at my energy. I get it all the time. I always think it's too much. And people are like, Steve, it's not. It's so infectious. So I've embraced it. Have energy. Even if you're an introvert. Oh, man, that's exciting. You got 3 kids and live in Northern California. Man, are you enjoying the life? Yeah, it's great. You want to get in a conversation. That's how we build relationships. Understand people. You can always bring value.
Speaking of service in California, what are you recognizing as opportunities to serve some of the other residents there who are really struggling with the forest fires?
There's so many ways to give. I'm going to say, I always not a fan of talking about myself, but I got to be humble is my wife reached out and I saw my church sent a semi full of food that we put a bunch in. She works at Trader Joe's. We bought a bunch of food and sent it down. Proud moment for us. And great, by the way, you couples out there, what a great way of go to soup kitchen or volunteer or give. Go on the Red Cross. What I'm hearing, the Red Cross is the best way. They're getting the money there faster and more efficiency. So do that. And if you're a praying sort, pray.
Yeah.
Please pray. Because more prayer warriors are going to be the best. It's devastating, but we've had many, this is my servant heart looking positively, which I've learned in the last 3 years. We've had many catastrophes. Let's think 9/11.
Yeah.
Massive catastrophe. A lot of people lost lives, but we recover from that. We will recover from this, but we've got to work together to help them and support them, not what are the causes, what are this, what are that. We'll worry about that later and fix that. Thank you for asking. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. So where can people find you for those who are just listening on audio? For those who can check out the show notes, all the links will be in there. But for those who are just driving along and like, and this guy's awesome, where do we find out more?
LinkedIn is a great place. Steve Ramona, R-A-M-O-N-A. Email me with any questions about business, any questions about podcasting, stever1961@gmail.com. I have a business mentorship I do for free and a podcast hosting mentorship as well. I'd love to help all of you.
Unbelievable. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for spending your precious time with us, for all these tips. If we had one takeaway, I think it's to listen. That was a repeat message. Pay attention, listen, find ways to be of service. And that 1% of improvement each day is something I'm taking away from this. So thank you so much, Steve.
And Shannon, thank you. And audience, I'm going to put out a call to action for all of you. Let's get this return of generosity to 1 million people ears or eyes by the end of this year, because we need to do that. Same thing with doing business with a servant's heart. We need everybody to jump aboard, get this message, and run with it. Thank you.
Love it. Let's do it.
Thanks for listening to R.O.G. Return on Generosity podcast. Please help us grow by subscribing and reviewing us on your favorite podcast player. And for more information, visit bridgebetween.com. We grow when we give.
우리는 나누면서 성숙합니다.
We grow when we give.
On rayonne quand on donne.
We grow when we give.